Hello students, in the previous video we have studied different concepts related to general principles and processes of isolation of elements. In this video we shall discuss about refining of the crude metal. Refining of crude metal. Now what is refining? So if you remember the first video where I had told you that there are three main steps in the processes of isolation of elements. The first step is concentration of ore, where the general impurities, the basic impurities or earthly impurities are separated, and then the next step is what? We isolate the metal, and the metal which we have isolated, we have studied that using different principles, say electrochemical principles or thermodynamical principles. We have seen separation of the metal. Now the metal is called as crude metal. The metal is called as crude metal. Crude metal means that it contains some amount of impurities in it. Now why we have to go for next process? After the separation of metals, the metals may contain some amount of or some percentage of impurities. So that percentage of impurities or small amount of impurities which are present are further removed. So we say refining is done. Refining of the crude metal is done. What do we do here? To obtain extra pure metal, we use different methods. We use different methods and to refine the crude metal. Now let us see different methods. There are many, say distillation, liquefaction, electrolysis, vapor phase refining, zone refining, and chromatographic methods. So few which are mentioned in the syllabus, we shall study about it today. So the first method is distillation. You might have heard enough about distillation. You might have studied about it as well in the first year. In the basic concepts of organic chemistry, you had some concepts of these discussed. So let us see what we have to do in this particular method. So in distillation, usually the principle behind this is important. Which type of metals will be subjected for distillation? The metals which are low boiling. So low boiling metals like zinc and mercury, the metals like zinc and mercury which are low boiling metals, they are subjected to distillation. Now what is distillation? The metal will be vaporized. In the sense we say distillation, you know what is distillation? Vaporizing and then condensing it, isn't it? So here what happens? The metal is distilled, vaporized, and then it is condensed. So the rest of the impurities whichever is present, that is left behind and it is distilled. So the distillate, it is subjected to distillation. Distillation is where you vaporize the metal and collect it after condensing. Now after that what you collect, you call it as distillate. The distillate will contain the pure metal. What you obtain at the end, we call it as distillate. Distillate will contain the pure metal. So remember, it's for low boiling metals it is applied. The next method is called as liquefaction. Liquefaction. In this method, what will be done? It is usually applied for the metals which have low melting ability. Low melting metals are usually subjected to low melting metals like tin. Tin are subjected to liquefaction process. What happens here? The main principle behind refining is that you should know the difference between the properties of impurities and that of metals. right? That means if both show same kind of nature, then you cannot say that it will be refined to about 99% pure or so. So that there must be difference. If the metal is low melting and the impurities which are there, they have high melting point, or say low melting metals in the sense which takes time to melt, I mean to say here. And the impurities, if they can melt very soon, that means in such case we can subject the metals for liquation process. What will be done is a slope will be taken, in the sense on a slope, say heating slope, it is the metal is taken and it is heated. When it is heated, now you can imagine the metal is low melting, it does not get melted easily, whereas the impurities get melted soon. So the impurities gets melted and it can be collected. So impurities are collected, whereas the metal which does not melt easily will be left behind, because of which you can collect it later. So impurities are separated from the metal, and this way it can be refined. So what you need to remember, it's for low melting metal, this is for low boiling metals. Clear? We'll move on to the next process. Next process of refining is called as electrolysis. Electrolysis, or we say electrolytic method. Electrolysis. See, in this case what is done is, you want to refine the metal, isn't it? By refining the metal you can get ultra pure metal. Than mentioning extra, no, you can use the term ultra pure metal can be obtained. Now here in electrolysis, what will be done? An electrolytic cell will be taken, metals are taken, and the impure metal is taken as anode. And now say for example you want to refine some metal. So that metals, the impure metal, you will be taking it as anode, whereas the pure metal, same. Now say for example the example which we are going to consider is of copper. Now you want to refine copper, then the copper which you want to refine, the blister copper which we say, we take it as impure metal, which is taken as anode. Now what is taken as cathode? The refined copper you will be having, isn't it? That is taken as cathode. Now we want an electrolytic solution. See, the setup is somewhat like this. We take an electrolytic cell, and in the cell, what do? We dip two electrodes. Externally connected. One is taken as anode and other one is taken as cathode. Now what happens? We have to dip it in some solution, isn't it? What is that solution called as? The solution is called as electrolyte, or electrolytic solution we say. Electrolyte. Now what is taken as electrolyte? Same salts solution, that is salt solution of same metal. Same metal salt solution is taken as electrolyte. So electrolyte is also taken. Now when external EMF is applied, that is when electric current is passed, what happens? Here the reaction takes place, right? How the reaction takes place, I'll tell you. At anode, remember this, anox and red cat. Anox and red cat. Maybe I have told you about this. At anode, oxidation takes place. What does it mean? At anode, which reaction takes place? Oxidation reaction takes place. And at cathode, which reaction will take place? A reduction will take place. So we say anox, red cat. Now here what has to happen? Now electric current is passed. So at anode, oxidation has to take place. At cathode, reduction has to take place. So in general, we'll take the example later. In general, let us consider M as any metal. So we have a metal taken M. At anode, what happens? At anode, how do you write the reaction? So one example of this we have studied in the extraction of aluminium using electrolytic cell, if you remember Hall-Herold's process. So just apply this there. At anode, oxidation takes place. So what happens? If this has to undergo oxidation, you know what is oxidation? Increase in the oxidation number. Now here it is neutral. Increase in oxidation number, let us generally consider it as Mn plus, which indicates there is increase in oxidation number. And you know, oxidation means again loss of electron. Oxidation means loss of electrons. So here how many electrons are lost? How much difference you can see in the oxidation number, that many number of electrons will be lost. So N electrons. This is oxidation. Oxidation. Now at cathode, what happens? At cathode, that the oxidized species which are present, that has to undergo reduction. How does it undergo reduction? It has to accept or gain electrons. Gaining of electrons is reduction. So how many electrons it will gain? It has to get reduced. So N electrons. See, if it is say zinc, then Zn getting converted into Zn2 plus. If it is Zn2 plus, how many electrons will go out? 2 electrons. By the loss of 2 electron, it acquires 2 positive charge there. If it is aluminium, then Al gets converted into Al3 plus with the loss of 3 electron. Now here Mn plus we have taken. So how many electrons it has to gain? N electrons, and it gets reduced. Now this metal will be in the pure form. So what is it? Where do you get the pure metal? So from anode, it gets oxidized and gets into the solution. The metal ions gets into the solution. This is impure, isn't it? So gradually you see the metal ions getting into the solution. And after that what happens? Here the pure metal starts depositing on the cathode. Later, if you just remove this cathode, you will have all the pure metal ions being deposited. You get the pure form of metal. At cathode, we get pure metal. We get pure metal. Okay, remember one more thing. The less basic metal gets into the solution, and highly basic metal gets reduced and gets deposited on the cathode. We will see this with an example. The same thing, but with an example of copper. Okay, we'll see refining of copper. By which method? Refining of copper by electrolytic method or electrolysis. So refining of copper, you have studied in the previous separation isolation method. Which form of copper do you get? You get blister copper, isn't it? Blister copper is now the crude metal. From that crude metal, what we do? We take impure copper metal as anode, that means blister copper. You convert it in the form of rod or say a plate and you take it as anode. And then pure copper rod is taken as cathode. Now the electrolytic solution, which is of same metal salt, isn't it? So we take copper sulfate solution as the electrolyte. Copper sulfate solution is taken as electrolyte, and this is same. At anode oxidation takes place, at cathode reduction takes place. Now here what is it? This is impure, anode is impure copper and this cathode is pure copper. Now on passing electric current, what happens? From anode, the copper ions, Cu2 plus ions, gets into the solution. At anode, which reaction is taking place? Are you getting the point? Here Cu2 plus ions gets into the solution. From which? From anode. From anode. After some time, when you see, after the reaction gets completed, the size of anode, you will see it is shrunk. It starts shrinking or it starts decreasing, whereas the cathode, it seems to be increased. Why? Because deposition takes place on cathode. Okay, at anode, what reaction has to take place? Copper rod, impure copper was taken. It undergoes oxidation by forming Cu2 plus ions with the liberation of 2 electrons, with the loss of 2 electrons, where oxidation takes place. Now this Cu2 plus gets into the solution. And at cathode, what happens? The Cu2 plus ions will gain 2 electrons. So Cu2 plus ion, you will have it in the solution also, isn't it? Electrolyte, which is copper sulfate. Now here what happens? This gains 2 electrons and gets reduced to pure form of copper, which you get it from this cathode part. So this is about electrolysis method. Next, let us see one more important method of refining, which is called as zone refining. It is called zone refining. What is zone refining now? Say, here in a chamber, the metal rod will be placed, which has to be refined now. The metal rod will be placed. See that electrolytic method, copper, zinc, gold, silver, everything can be refined by that particular method. Okay. Here rollers, electric heaters are taken. Electric heaters are taken. Now when the reaction proceeds, what actually happens? We have to see. So what is done? There is a metal and circular heater. Let me tell you, this is circular mobile heater. You know what is mobile? Mobile means which can move. Circular mobile heater. So it will be like this. Circular mobile heater which you can move. Okay, or the metal. This is the metal that has to be refined. It is placed now. So the metal which has to be refined is taken in an in a chamber. over which the circular mobile heater is passed. Or say you insert it in the circular mobile heater. The metal is inserted in a circular mobile heater, and now the heater is being rolled, or it is being passed over the metal. Now what happens, the principle here is that the impurities, the condition or the principle is the impurities are attracted to the melt than the solid metal. So what is it? The impurities are attracted to the melt, in the sense impurities are present in the melt, or it has affinity towards the melt than in the solid metal. Or in other ways you can say impurities are soluble in the melt. Impurities are soluble in the melt than in solid metal. Than in solid metal. Hope it's clear now. So the principle is that the impurities must be soluble in the melt than in solid metal. So what happens? Now imagine you have a metal taken and you are passing the circular heater over it. So when you pass this way, say here now this area it has reached. This is the molten zone. Molten zone means all the particles are molten there where the heater is being passed. Rest of the part are solid. This part is solid, this part is solid. Only this area is molten. And what happens to the impurities? All the impurities which are present comes and gets concentrated here. Because what is it? They are soluble in the melt. In the molten state they are soluble than in the solid form of metal. So they all come and gather here. And now as you pass the heater, that particular zone also moves, isn't it? When it moves, what happens? The impurities also moves along with it, and say at the end it is concentrated. Now again the heater is again moved in the molten zone. The impurities are also moving, and then it reach at the end. Again it is continued continuously until at a particular end all the impurities are concentrated, and then that part is cut. That part you cut and remove. So what happens? The majority of impurities are removed there. So this process is continued. If you want ultra pure, you will get 99.99% pure metal also by this particular method called as zone refining. So in zone refining, the very important thing is that semiconductors, it is also used for the preparation of semiconductors, or to produce semiconductors we use this zone refining process. Semiconductors like germanium, silicon, selenium, tellurium, or say boron, gallium, indium. Semiconductors like germanium, silicon, boron, gallium, indium also, this particular method of zone refining can be applicable. So hope it is clear of what is zone refining. Now next method is called as vapor phase refining. Vapor phase refining. What happens in vapor phase refining is Name tells you vapor phase refining. Here, the crude metal which you have taken, in simpler words I'll just mention, the crude metal which we have taken, it will be first converted into a volatile compound. We try to vaporize it. It is converted into a volatile compound. And then this volatile compound is decomposed. Is decomposed to get pure metal, that is refined metal. So this is the basic principle in vapor phase refining. So what is it? The condition is that you should be able to convert the metal, crude metal, to volatile complex. Volatile complex you know, right? Say for example acetone, we say it is volatile. Why? It can easily evaporate. Alcohol is volatile, it can evaporate. So volatile compound first you have to convert, then you have to again decompose it. Then you get the pure metal. We'll see the examples for this. One important method is Mond's process. Sometimes they'll ask you the name of the process also. Which process is, which refining process is used for refining nickel? Mond's process of refining nickel. So here what is done? The first step, there are two steps here. The first step is what? Formation of volatile complex. First step is formation of volatile complex. How volatile complex is formed? Nickel is heated with carbon monoxide vapors. It is heated with carbon monoxide vapors at a temperature range of 330 Kelvin to 350 Kelvin. It is heated, nickel is heated with carbon monoxide vapors to form nickel tetracarbonyl, or we say tetracarbonyl nickel. Here it is 4CO, since here it is 4. So what is it? What is the name? Tetracarbonyl nickel. Okay.